There are three types of power generation: tidal, wave, and heat pump, which is subdivided into geothermal energy and air source. All of these types of power generation are renewable resources. First of all, tidal energy is a form of hydropower. It uses underwater blades like windmills do, but instead of being supplied by the wind to turn the turbine, the density of the water turns the turbine instead. According to a Time article special, because it is more predictable than wind or solar, tidal power can supply up to 10% of electricity in the U.S. Most of the time, however, it does not receive the recognition it should deserve. This is due to the fact that building and maintaining underwater structures are difficult. It is also noted in an alternative energy article that because water's density is greater than wind, fewer and smaller turbines are needed to produce the same amount of electricity as wind turbines. The Guardian takes note of the fact that the world's first major tidal power station is to be installed in the channel between two Scottish islands to provide electricity for 10,000 homes. Looking like underwater windmills, these turbines will be placed at the bottom of the channel. Concerns, however, environmentalists show concern for devastating migratory birds of food as well as destroying the ocean bed and sea creatures that may be caught by the blades. Such placements of these generators will also disturb fishing industries, and thus placements would then be limited to probable less desired places. Wave power captures energy from ocean surface waves. Waves are caused by the wind blowing over the surface of the ocean, and it is the wave motion in which electricity is harnessed. Wave farms are collections of machines used to generate wave-powered electricity. They can either be offshore or nearshore, with the former being able to produce large quantities of electricity. Note that different areas do not have the same consistency or force as other areas do. Thus, wave power generation varies based on the location. According to a Discover article, Calamus, an attenuator, is a snake-like machinery that follows the motion of the waves. The motion is resisted by hydraulic rams. The hydraulic rams pump high-pressure oil through hydraulic motors, which then convert it into electricity. Note that this is just one example of wave power generation being tested. Wave power is unequally distributed and a matter of lucky geology. Because Earth rotates eastward and winds come mostly from the west, waves tend to be the strongest at latitudes distant from the equator and the eastern ends of long stretches, such as the western coast of continents. Heat pump or geothermal energy is also another renewable power source. It is the third largest source of renewable energy in the United States. Geothermal energy is the heat from Earth, which comes from the mantle, the deep layer of Earth that contains the magma. This heat is a great renewable source of energy. Geothermal energy can supply a continuous resource without much environmental impact. Water in underground reservoirs is heated by magma. With the addition of a new technique called coiled tube drilling, Energy.gov states that coiled tubing drill rigs use a continuous steel tube rolled into a reel, thus making it more efficient in drilling. Wells are drilled down to 10,000 feet below the surface to tap into the fluid. Under its own pressure, the fluid flows upward in the pipe. As it goes up, the pressure lessens, causing some steam to form. Together, the hot fluid and steam move together until it reaches a separator where it flashes into high vapor steam, and the hot fluid moves into another separator to flash into standard pressure steam. Extra hot fluids not in steam then move to another separator to flash into low pressure steam. All the steam created is sent to a shaft which turns a turbine to generate electricity. Any leftover fluids will return into the reservoir. It will eventually be reheated and reused. Also, drilling into the Earth's crust raises questions as to whether locations where hot spots are closer to the surface are actually safe to drill. Fears for earthquakes spurred by the quake in Switzerland from drilling promptly caused the drilling to be halted and not to continue, according to the New York Times. To the Harvard Gazette, students and geologists discussed how fissures on the rock site location also allow water to replenish itself in the reservoir. This solves the problem of overusing and depleting reservoir water. Air source is a heating and cooling system that utilizes the air outside as a heat source and heat sink. These types of heat pumps are similar to AC units in respect. It is different in the fact that instead of burning fossil fuels that negatively affect the environment, it simply transfers heat. A government site explains that most central air sources heat pumps are split system, meaning they each have one coil indoors and one outdoors. Supply and return ducts connect to a central fan which is located indoors. The fan, often called an air handler or blower, circulates air throughout the house. The fan also usually contains electric resistant coils. An example that utilizes both heat pumps mentioned in the Cornell, New York City campus. An array of 400 wells spread out over the 4 acres will use 500 feet deep holes to extract heat from the earth to warm buildings in the winter. It will transfer the heat utilizing heat pumps as the split system. All the 3 types of renewable resources, tidal wave and heat pump, are fixes to today's overuse of factory burning fossil fuels to create electricity. Though these efforts have flaws, they are nonetheless a welcome addition in the market for replacing fossil fuels.